Hello, everyone. I'm Jake.
I'm the deafening silence that pervades my existence. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the final episode of our series covering Dave Rubin's book, Don't Burn This Book.
Yeah.
We're not going to burn this book because not falling for that bait. Also,
Do we own a physical copy?
No, I don't.
Me either. Got it on ebook, Dave. You're welcome. So
You should have thought that out. You can't. What if I just delete? If I drag the file to the recycle bin, is that the same thing?
it's not. You have to have combustion. So this is called Move On With Your Life. This is chapter 10. I think he hit his word limit, and he's like, I'm just gonna eject button from this entire thing because this isn't really a wrap up. This is just sort of like, this could be in the middle of the book, and it's like, not a big deal.
He said what he needed to say. He got in, he got out. He's a stand-up comedian. He knows to leave on the big laugh, and the big laugh in this chapter is, stop being poor, idiots.
That's definitely the correct way to interpret this, but not the way he would. So, in the beginning of this chapter, Move On With Your Life, he starts out with an anecdote, which is, I think, a reasonable anecdote to have, which was a palliative care nurse wrote a blog post about her experiences in hospice and about like kind of the average stuff that dying people say about like any regrets they have or anything like that. You know, a life left unlived. And here are the 5 things to note to the surprise of 0 people that exist. I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected from me. He's a transphobe. Amazing. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends, and I wish I had let myself be happier. So, Dave Rubin, a man of immense privilege, says, yeah, why don't you guys do that stuff, idiots?
Now, in fairness, some of them are things that anyone could do. Staying in touch with your friends, people do get busy, and that can tie into the other stuff we're going to be talking about. But, like, you know, you and I hang out and stuff.
Any of us can do. Like, not anybody can do that. Like,
Sure.
There are nations, of course, around the world that don't have the access to, you know, these devices and things so easy that we take for granted. But definitely for a Western audience that he only cares about, yeah, these is true. These come from Australia, so that's
sure. Yeah. I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. That's also another one that basically anyone can do, and I agree with it. I used to live my life very emotionally constipated, and it was not healthy for me.
Well, sure, but
Jake, would you believe that since I started hormones, I've cried more than in the rest of my entire life? And I don't say that in a negative way. I say that in a I feel much better about myself, and I'm more in touch with my feelings way. So.
But also I think access to mental health care is incredibly important for something like that, because a lot of people are emotionally stunted, you know, through hardship and through pain and through a lot of things that happen with people. So not just anybody can just be like, oh, I'm more in touch. But yeah, I think these are at least more valuable things that you can try to be. Let myself be happier? That's kind of not up to you. Yeah, you gotta try to curate your life a certain way and hope to achieve the things that make you happy. But if something like, I wish I hadn't worked so hard gets in the way, like the fact that you have to work 40 plus hours a week to survive under capitalism, you know, that could take a toll. My mom still works like way more than I have. Well, not way more than I've ever worked. Way more than I've worked for that long period of time. She has worked at the post office for years and years, and for a while she barely worked because she was a sub, and those guys work like 1 or 2 days a week, 3 or 4 if it's really busy, and that's a pretty good gig. They get paid pretty well at the post office. But once you're a regular, especially at a small place like she's at, and she's not a spring chicken. Sorry, Mom. Although she is the exact weight of one chicken. She is a tiny person. But she's busting her ass, and she's like past the age we should be making people bust their ass, but she has to, because capitalism dictates that if she doesn't, she deserves death, which is stupid.
It's very interesting to me that Dave Rubin appears to not understand that there are people who, in his mind, it's almost like a 90s family movie.
Yeah.
Like Hook or something, where the dad, like, he could take work less seriously and spend more time with his family. He just needs a magical adventure to teach him what's really important.
They have a fucking borderline mansion and a London house.
The kind of people who are really overworked typically are people who don't do it necessarily by choice, but people who need to support their families. And if they don't do overtime or work 2 or 3 jobs, they're going to lose their house or more likely their apartment. And they're not going to be able to support their family.
How many of those family movies is the bad guy not capitalism? Elf, the movie's fucking, the bad guy is capitalism. The fucking movie Elf. If even that can't escape it, and James Caan, great dad at the end, right? Because he determines that he can work less and still afford his Manhattan home. Like, amazing.
Like the CEO of a publishing company or something.
Right. Like, he has fucking real problems, right? Like,
and they publish a book about an elf who comes to New York City, which I feel like probably already existed, but okay. Anyway, the point is this. It just seems like Dave Rubin, and this comes up later in the chapter too, which I found interesting. I don't mean to jump ahead, but later in the chapter...
Who cares?
We'll just jump around, sure. Later in the chapter, he focuses a lot on how toxic social media can be to our mental health, and I don't necessarily disagree overall if you overindulge in it. But one of his solutions to this is, of course, to sort of put things away. And one of the specifics is if you're at a dinner party with people, as you do, out at a restaurant, everyone put their phones in the middle of the table, face down, and the first person to take their phone to look at it has to pay for everyone. And I just thought, like, I don't know. I look, at this point, I have enough money in the bank where if, let's say, Jake, you, me, Sarah, Taylor, Alex, Anna, let's say we were all out. Let's even throw Randy in there. Let's say Randy's in town. I could pay for all of our meals if I had to. Right. But, like, paying for 6 or 7 people's meals all at one time, I'm not going to not be like, ooh, that's a bill. I don't know. It just feels weird that Dave Rubin's advice to the common man is, hey, incentivize yourself by paying for 7 people to eat out.
Very strange. Very strange.
I don't know.
Like, regularly. So, I mean, and of course he lives an upper class lifestyle, and I don't think that he needs to, like, pretend he doesn't, but, like, he's clearly never, like, worried where his food was coming from the next day. You know what I mean? Like, he's never been bothered by a low bank account, at least not to the extent that, you know, people that experience poverty have. I mean, he talks about, like, the over-politicization, catastrophizing. Of course, he has to do the right-wing thing where he takes Greta Thunberg and says, like, she was being over-dramatic about climate change. It's like, oh, really, dude? Like, the world will cease to be viable for human life at the rate, you know, if we don't adjust.
This is what frustrates me.
That's like not debatable. You could say that she's being sad about it, but she's a kid that's gonna have to deal with your fucked up decisions. Like, why shouldn't she be mad?
Here's his direct quote. Potential exploitation of a clinically depressed teenager aside.
How does he know she's clinically depressed?
He doesn't. He's trying to belittle her. Her catastrophizing only causes unnecessary moral alarm amongst people who realistically have no plans to dedicate themselves to the global warming, and then it's quotes around crisis. Like, Dave, what's the opposite of catastrophizing? Taking it very serious. And it's so funny, too, because Dave Rubin is so often has the rhetoric of, like, oh, I'm rational. I care about facts, okay? I care about rationale. Meanwhile, 99% of climate scientists agree that anthropogenic climate change is a thing that's going to potentially end human life. And he's like, stop catastrophizing. I'm a big brain rational boy. And meanwhile, the Koch brothers are just off screen, or at least the living ones, signing a check for him.
Yeah, it's really fucking. He likens it to the Salem witch trials The Great Fear and the War of the Worlds. Now, what's the Great Fear? Was the French Revolution? Yeah, okay. Panic and riot peasants. Rumors of aristocratic conspiracy by the king to throw over the third estate, which is normies. Here's the thing. Especially the Salem witch trials and the War of the Worlds, but a little bit of the Great Fear. These weren't real things. Did you know witches aren't things? Witches aren't things.
Witches aren't things.
Witches are not things. The War of the Worlds? That wasn't real. That was a radio broadcast. It was a fiction. These aren't real things. You know what's real? Climate change.
Climate change.
And plenty of other science. It's super wild to me.
It's a false equivalence. He's drawing false equivalences and just saying, I think climate change, this thing that the vast majority, and I don't... Mm-hmm. I would say virtually all. I wouldn't even say vast majority. Virtually all climate scientists and climatologists agree that this is going to be disastrous, and we're already seeing the effects of it. And Dave Rubin is comparing it to witch trials and an H.G. Wells radio play, and it makes me want to scratch my eyeballs out of my head.
You ever touched your eyes?
No.
You should try.
I don't want to.
Okay, here
These
we go.
orbs will never be touched by human hands. They're pristine.
Them. Just touch them.
Stop. Okay. Stop.
It's pretty easy. All you gotta do is touch them. So, you ever itch your eye? Oh, wow. Nothing better. Actually, there is one thing better. Getting those little things that itch your ear holes. Oh, man. You ever get one of those?
This is funny, too. Okay, so he goes on.
Okay, fine. Don't interact with me. That's fine. I was asking if you ever itched your ear hole before.
If I ever itched my ear hole, I've used Q-tips.
No, not Q-tips. No, not the Q-tips. They got like little beehives on the end of them.
No, I've not.
Oh, well, you should, because it is enlightening.
I've had compacted earwax have to get removed by a doctor before.
Well, don't do that. They have tools. They have a tool on the other side. It's a little Scoopy boy.
Okay. Anyway.
What is with this skepticism? You're so weird.
I'm not weird. Why am I weird?
I'm skeptical about this very common thing that is... Like, you gave me, like, this, like, that's hibbly-bibbly. Like, what? Fuck off! It's a real thing!
My ears.
You don't have to, but it's not like this skepticism needs to be a thing. Very strange. Go ahead.
Stick tools in your ears, kids.
You absolutely
Dave Rubin
feels great.
So Dave Rubin in this chapter kind of goes on against like outrage culture and being like upset about everything, but the irony is he's doing the exact same thing from the right-wing perspective. So for instance, he says, only recently John Legend and Kelly Clarkson marked Christmas by reworking the festive classic Baby It's Cold Outside to include feminist lyrics about consensual sex in a post-Me Too era. For the record, I stand with Dean Martin now and always. Like,
against consensual sex? I don't...
Dave, the fact that you felt the need to even address this, and I forgot that even existed, by the way. I think just about everyone has. But the fact that you felt the need to put this in your book and complain about it is exactly the kind of, like, vacuous outrage that you're claiming to be against. It just happens to be right-wing vacuous outrage.
It's always right-wing vacuous, right? Because, like, Baby It's Cold Outside. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit if someone wants to be like, that sounds like a little bit of a creepy song. Maybe we should make it less. I don't care. Are you... What? Who gives a shit? The same thing with the Dr. Seuss stuff that just happened recently. Mm-hmm. No,
and even more recently, the Lil Nas X stuff.
Even more recently, like where he you tell gay people they're going to hell forever. So Lil Nas, a gay man, says, "All right, I'll go to hell and I'll fuck Satan like you said I should," and he does, and you still get mad. What are you talking about? Do you he made Satan another thing you hate? Like, what? I don't understand. Why get fake or real outraged about any of that shit? Who cares? I thought you guys were for fucking free speech. I'm pretty sure free speech includes, and freedom of expression includes, pretending to fuck Satan.
It does.
I feel like that's the number one thing. I'm actually a little sad he didn't fuck the or clean off with the American flag. Jesus, he's so stupid. Yeah, but Saturday Night Live, a victim of its own Messiah complex. Who fucking watches Saturday Night Live? He's on some lib shit. I don't care about that. I like Pete Davidson. He was good in The King of Staten Island. That's the only cast member I'm aware of. Is Bobby Moynihan still employed by Saturday Night Live?
I have no idea.
He's done nothing. I don't care. I don't care.
Bobby Moynihan.
Bobby Moynihan.
I hope he's still employed by Saturday
Night Live. He's a writer.
Live.
He does writing for shows and stuff. I don't know if he's employed by Saturday SNL though. Like,
oh, he was on DuckTales, which ended.
Woo! DuckTales is really good.
He I think he left in 2017. Voice
direction by Sam Riegel.
Yeah.
Good job.
Oh, did he? Did he direct? Okay, that's cool.
Voice direction. Yeah. Anyway, this Me Too. He's also bothered about the Me Too thing. He's the woke Thanksgiving thing. The Newsweek writing a thing about how to be woke at Thanksgiving is the most liberal thing ever, and you can make fun of that if you want, but don't think that it's like wrong to talk about politics. Who cares? When you wrote this, gonna be honest, your president made everything pretty fucking political. Like, it was a big problem. He was doing bad shit the whole time, and everyone was like, I don't like that. And then you got mad that people didn't like that. Now you do the same thing about Joe Biden, who is benign. I don't... Anyway, so moving on. Can you want to read this list of things that he thinks we should do, or do you got something to say that before that? Where he's just talking about...
Sorry, I'm looking.
Winston Churchill described his clinical depression. Like, I don't care.
The funny thing is too, okay, and then he references Sally Brampton's self-help book called Shoot the Damn Dog. Seems like he's just kind of wanting you to will your way out of clinical depression, which is interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, we can read the list. I'm ready for the list.
Okay, so his list of self-help Dave Rubin stuff that got upvotes on Quora in his own head. Okay, you ready for number 1?
No TV in the bedroom. This sacred space should be for sleeping or having sex, ideally sleeping after sex, but you get the idea. Not having a TV allows you to focus your attention on the bed itself, which, as the name suggests, is what this space is all about.
Can't do anything else in your bedroom. Look, I don't have a TV in my bedroom, but like, also I have had TVs in my bedroom. I've fucked the same amount, roughly.
I have a 55-inch TV in the bedroom.
Helps.
I love it. I love watching TV. I listen to it usually with the picture off when I sleep because I like noise. It's fine.
I love it. I might actually install a TV in my bedroom. I love the rain noise.
Nice.
Next up, similarly, keep your phone in another room overnight. Your day shouldn't start and end with staring into a little black mirror. Ooh. It's virtually impossible to achieve true intimacy with your partner or get a decent night's sleep when you're thinking about the message waiting for you on your nightstand. He's old. He's an old man.
It's so weird to me, too, because, like, okay, so when Baja's over, because she comes over on the weekends, typically, like, when we wake up, I don't immediately necessarily go like, I gotta check my phone. Usually it's like,
Sarah forgets her phone around the house.
We cuddle for quite a while and talk and like,
interact.
Couple shit like human beings. Sometimes others. Why am I saying that? Who cares? No one cares if I fuck. The point is,
sometimes other stuff.
We're human
adults,
beings.
Yeah.
So eventually, do we like get our phones? Yeah, because eventually we get up for the day and proceed with our days.
It's like,
I don't know. The idea that you can't have human interaction if you have phones in your bedroom is so weird.
You know what this sounds like? It sounds like someone who grew up with horses and buggies and like, all you do is hang out in your cars. Like, no, they're just the transportation we have. Like, yeah, it's part of life in 2021. Most humans, I think, in the world, or at least half, like, have a phone. Like it's a thing. It's a thing we have. We are interconnected in a broad way. It's just a thing. Number 3.
Have cutoff times for social media and the news at some point in the evening. Stop looking at either. Give the 24-hour media cycle, you need to be, given the 24-hour media cycle, you need to be strict in enforcing this. Otherwise, your time will be taken by people who, A, don't respect it, and B, don't deserve it. Setting these boundaries will help separate your real world from the never-ending digital world. Let reality have the last word every single day.
I mean, that's okay. Depends on what's going on. I don't really... Again, this is another one of those boomery, like, you're always on your phone. It's like, that's where my fucking entire friend bases, especially after a pandemic, which this is written before, but
Yeah.
like people are more into their shit now than they were before, but it's not like there is an aspect that's obviously unhealthy, but I don't think most people in our age group have this, like, because he was talking about, like he set this up with, like, I used to get on my phone constantly and have random debates with people, and I cared so much, and I used to get real serious FOMO. I had to detox for 30 days by keeping my phone in a safe. Dave Rubin, I think you have addiction issues. Like, just go get some therapy, my guy. Like, it's not that big a deal. Go get some therapy, figure it out, and, like, be able to, like I haven't had to look at this thing while we were, oh, there's a doggy. I haven't had to look at this thing while we were on here. It's not a big deal, and I probably won't later. Sometimes I don't look at my phone all day. Sometimes I'm on it all day. It just depends on what's going on with my life. It's like such a normal part of human existence.
If I'm having real bad ADHD stuff going on, it can happen, but otherwise, it's okay.
All right, number 4. When you're out to dinner with a group of friends, this is when you play the game of stack the phone in the table. The first to cave and retrieve their device must pay the check. Okay, try playing this with me. You're paying the check.
Yeah.
But only because you made it a competition, not because I can't pay for it. Don't fucking challenge me, Dave. I'll sit here for 4 hours. It's fucking weird. That's just weird. Like, instead, just be like, hey, you guys want to split the bill? Like, I don't know. Like, hey, we're talking. Like, when we all hang out, we're not all on our phones the whole time. It can happen.
I just feel like it's a case of either if you're playing this game and it doesn't matter to you, really, and you can do this regularly, then you're wealthy enough that having to pay for everyone's bill is not a big deal and it isn't a consequence. Yeah. Or 2, it is a consequence and you shouldn't be playing this game.
Right. Okay, so number 5.
Twice each year, take a 1-week break from social media. I recommend the last week of the summer and the final week of the year. This will recharge your batteries at convenient times and restore your perspective, then slowly reintroduce yourself to all of it with fresh eyes. If you're feeling really adventurous, join me once a year for the month of August when I shut off all my devices and stop reading the news entirely. Dave, does Dave take August off?
I hope so.
Just because
you know how when you could take months off of work?
He hosts a news show,
like a whole month.
Like, he'd have to look at the news unless he takes the whole month off. And if you can take the whole month off,
well, he just
I don't want to hear your opinion on almost anything. You are not a normal person whose advice should be listened to by the vast majority of people.
It's just wild. Like most people that even can take a vacation can get like a long weekend, or if you're really lucky, a week.
Yeah.
Before it's just like I need to get back. Okay. Wow, this is a really, really, really boomery one. In general, be more discerning in your use of Facebook. It's a hotbed of grievance-stoking and self-indulgence that has limited benefits for most people, so feel free to unfollow or mute those who make your experience miserable. This encourages you to stay focused on your own life rather than the inconsequential happenings of others. In fact, use this approach on all your online activity. Ration how much of your life you're willing to sacrifice online. Naturally, I want the internet to be as free and open as possible, but the way we consume it should be conservative in the true sense, as in literally conserving something we're saving. In this instance, your happiness and your sanity. You have essences. And
I do like that he made the distinction between political conservatism and actual literal conservatism, because they're completely different things, and political conservatism is just regressivism.
Yeah, they don't conserve anything. I love that it's about Facebook. This would go about anything. Like, sure, I suppose you shouldn't be terminally online. There is that, but that's not what Dave's talking about.
It's the touch grass meme.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so next one.
Get in contact with old friends. If you have pre-internet pals, revive your relationships with them.
Pre-internet pals.
It's important than you might think. It will remind you of who you were before this madness happened. It rekindled an element of innocence in your life, which is hard to find in an era of mass. This is definitely.
I was born in 1988. I was born in 1988. This doesn't exist for me.
I was born in 94. It exists less for me.
This is what I'm talking about. Like we've had the internet. Like, my house didn't have the internet until the 2000s or something because we lived in the woods. But that wasn't, the internet was a thing. Like, social media wasn't really a thing until, like, high school.
Even then, like, I had internet and instant message, AOL instant message was the thing, and chat rooms and stuff.
Forums and chat rooms were crazy. If you don't remember chat rooms, guys, you're too young to watch this show, but keep doing it.
Introduce yourself.
Well, you can't steal mine. You can't steal mine, okay?
Sorry. Are we going back and forth? I didn't realize.
We have been going back and forth. You got to be pattern recognizing. You got to be on that stuff, or the threats are going to get you in the bushes. That's why we have pattern recognition. It's life or death shit right now. Introduce yourself to your neighbors. Immediate face-to-face interaction with real people who live on your street helps to cultivate a sense of community. It's a daily reminder we have more in common than apart, even if you live next door to the crazy cat lady. Dave, when we say we want to live in broad communities, you get mad and say that's anti-capitalist. It is anti-capitalist, but you're like mad about it. Like what do you think commune stands for? What do you think that word is? Like, I'm not a full-blown communist. I'm just saying, like, I'd like to be.
What the fuck does that mean?
Like a full, I'd like to be able. I'd like to imagine having the luxury of actually existing in what a communist society would be like. We don't have that. We're not even going to get close to that.
I'm too much of a dirty consumer.
Yeah,
like my Marvel movies.
Well, so. I mean, Marvel movies can still exist. They can still operate within that system. But it wouldn't be driven by profit. It would be driven by quality. Because you don't.
They probably wouldn't make Marvel movies then. And I love Marvel movies.
Marvel movies are some of the most quality. I mean, unless you only mean like art movies. We'd still have more art. We'd have more art
in a situation. Scorsese is having a stroke somewhere.
Well, in a system where people's survival isn't contingent on whether or not you consume their art, you'd have more of it, obviously. So we'd have good stuff. Maybe we'd have some bad stuff too. Just Scorsese movies. He hasn't made a good movie since The Departed. That's a fact.
Hold on.
I actually don't know what his last few movies have been. Let's see.
Martin Scorsese. Let's see what his most recent films are. Didn't he do Wolf of Wall Street? Wasn't that
Wolf
him?
of Wall Street was really good, actually. I really like that movie. Let me see. Scorsese.
The Irishman, which I did. Oh, he was a producer on Uncut Gems, but he wasn't a director. I'll just go to director.
No, he doesn't count. That does not count.
Yeah.
No, not producer, not production, director. Pretends to say he didn't watch it. Irishman. Fuck the Irishman. No. Wolf of Wall Street, 2013. Last good movie. That's fact.
That hack, all he's done is The Wolf of Wall Street, Hugo, Shutter Island.
I didn't like that movie very
You didn't
much.
like Shutter Island?
No, Shutter Island's okay.
Oh, the other one?
The Departed. That's a good movie. I like that one.
I don't like The Departed.
The Aviator sucks. Not a fan of it. Gangs of New York isn't a good movie, but Daniel Day-Lewis is good in that movie.
Casino. Cape Fear. Goodfellas. Fantastic movie.
Well, Goodfellas. You gotta go back to 1990 for this shit? I'm 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. How many hit films have you... How many...
Is that
many
4?
Oscar-winning...
I have 4 Oscars. So, next up. We have... Oh, yeah, you got that one. You have the best one, I think.
Is it the holiday one? No. Oh, no.
This is a good one for you.
Why did I get this one?
Good one for you.
Appreciate your family. There's a twisted narrative out there that it's fashionable to belittle your parents and your relatives, but this is who you are and where you come from. Maintaining good bonds with your loved ones is the starting point for how you treat the rest of the world. It's a masterclass in acceptance. That's where you hone your tolerance skills before applying them to the greater world. It's a constant tutorial and compromise, so dip in regularly and top up the gas in your tank. This makes you a better person, especially if you can love someone you got stuck with just because of your genes.
No.
I gotta go into this. Let me go first. Let me go first on this one.
Yeah, absolutely go first.
Okay. Look, if your parents are a little out there, but overall good parents, they loved you, that's awesome. And I think you should maintain those relationships, and that's awesome. The unfortunate thing is,
that's why you're still
for
here,
a lot
Mom.
of people, For a lot of people, that's not the case. They have very toxic parents, in some cases abusive parents, whatever they happen to be. And you don't have to deal with them, and that's fine. I feel like this is coming from Dave Rubin because he spends his time in conservative circles, and the kind of parents that tend to get cut out of their kids' lives tend to be conservative shitbag parents who are either homophobic or transphobic or QAnon believers or Trump supporters who go hard. By that I mean racist. Anyway, so I feel like they're like, well, I'm your parent. You have to like me. Why? Why? You fucking came in a hole 30 years ago and now I have to give a shit? No. Nope.
That's it?
If your family's decent people, that's great.
Yep.
Then you should maintain those relationships. Otherwise, do whatever. That's fine.
Insofar as it being fashionable, nobody likes that they hate their fucking parents or family, dude.
Do you think I'm happy that my dad is like a huge awful person?
Right, and I've talked about this too. Like, I feel like one of the biggest one of the most profound experiences from my father's death is not that he died. I don't give a shit. I felt relieved. I was upset, and I made a video about it. I'm still upset about it, that I don't get to grieve that. I'll never get to grieve. I only have one dead dad, and I don't give a fuck. It'd be nice to give a fuck. Wouldn't that have been nice to like actually be like, I lost a part, and we had a connection, and there was something to lose? Imagine pining for grief. Isn't that weird? Like, and I don't get that. And there's a lot of other people who don't get that kind of shit and have very vast different experiences, whether they're dead parents or not, whether they're still alive. And you have that sort of like, and you always have someone in your family that's like, you should really reach out. And it's like, fuck you. You reach out. You have a relationship with them. I don't want a relationship with them. I don't need one. Because it's not about you. It's not about them. It's about fucking me. I get to choose for me. And you all get to choose for fucking you too. You get to choose your life, and if there's any bad advice, it's this one. This is the worst piece of advice. Now, it'd be nice to have a family that appreciates, but rather than appreciate your family, the piece of advice here is find your family. Find who those people are. Enjoy them, whatever they are, for whoever they are. That's good shit. You like the people that you choose to spend time with, they're way more influential in your life than people that fucked and forced you to exist. Just not a thing. Fuck off with that. That one made me really, really upset. Did not like that one. The next one is pretty bad too, but not as angry. Host a holiday in your home, which I'm fine with. My home is the place we all go. Tradition matters. Puke. You can start a new tradition to retain old ones, but the idea is that it brings us back, all back to center to recalibrate. It reminds us of what's important in life. Without it, we risk losing our priorities, which is already noted, which I've already noted is a no-no. Look, whatever tradition is not what's important about. Like the construct of the tradition is so weird. Conservatives love that shit, right? They're like, oh, but we've always done that, and but that's not what it's about. That's not why the tradition is good because you always done it. The tradition is good because the tradition is good. Like
it's not that we've always done that. It's that we've always done
that.
Right.
You don't like grandma's taco salad because she's always made it. You like it because it's good.
Sure.
You don't like your aunt's cookies, or like I remember we used to have really big, when my grandma was alive on my mom's side, we used to have really big family get-togethers in my aunt's house, and she has a really big or I guess my aunt and uncle, and they have a really big finished basement that has like card tables and like a bar and like a kitchen and stuff. It's really nice down there, and I have lots of memories of that. I have memories of the garage smelling like cigarettes because that's where the smokers went and hung out, and like these are cool things, these are fine, but it wasn't because we did it. It was because there were memories there that we made that were good, and the tradition has changed. We don't do that anymore, but I still have good memories of that, and then other stuff that we do. Like we've all gotten together and watched bad movies. That's a thing we do. That's not a tradition. It's just a thing we like to do, and if we end up watching good movies, we like that too. It's part of it. It's the people you do it with, not that you're doing it. It's always drives me crazy about conservative viewpoints.
2 more. Sense of humor. Get one.
Fuck.
As much as you have a duty to protect yourself from becoming perma-political and joyless, you've also got a responsibility not to ruin everybody else's fun, too. Nobody wants to hang out with somebody who's forever bitching and being a buzzkill. It's exhausting. So allow yourself to laugh, even if the joke isn't politically correct. Here's the thing. There's a difference between I just told an off-color joke and I just told
a shitty joke about being a shitty person.
Joke that the only joke is, aren't people different from me, and isn't that funny?
Right. If it's only funny because there's not someone around that joke resembles, that's not a funny joke, right? Like
sure.
Like you can't just be like shitting on people that.
Here's a good example. We're on the family thing. So my dad and some cousins who's I'm not going to mention anyone's names obviously, but like we lived out in the middle of nowhere. They're pretty my cousin's pretty rednecky and my dad was aspiring rednecky even though he is not like that at all. But for some reason he really admired that shit, bought a truck and started listening to country music. It's the weirdest constructed identity ever. And I say that as me. But anyway, I hung out with them for some occasion at some point.
I just thought of the dumbest joke ever that would make your dad so mad.
Anyway, like I heard them do like jokes about people using the N-word. Yeah. But the jokes weren't like funny jokes, not that they would be anyway.
It was that they said the N-word.
Yeah. It was just that they were denigrating black people and saying awful things about them. Like, that's not a joke. You're just a racist and you think it's funny. Like, that's not a joke.
As far as get a sense of humor, I don't know about other lefties, but we're always laughing. Always. All the time. Yeah. Like, it's just like, and not just you and I, like all of us, the entire friend group. At any time, it's just always we're laughing all the time. That's just all it is. So I feel like that's how friends are. People laugh together. That's it. Get a sense of humor. You're the butt of the joke, Dave. Sorry, dude.
I would say it's good to have a sense of humor, but it's also responsible to recognize that if your joke isn't funny, accept it, take the L, and move on.
Yeah, there's nothing better than getting lamaus from the boys in the group chat, but you're not always gonna get those, okay?
Like, okay, I think I have a pretty decent success rate at jokes, okay? So. But I'm not batting 1,000. Sometimes I'll tell a joke that I think is funny, not racist or anything, but just a joke that doesn't land, and it's like, all right, good shot.
Especially when you're high, they just come out. Not you, anybody. Sure. Like they just come out. And you just think everything's funny because you're inebriated, and this is a good time. I don't know.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott.
That's true. That's also true. Those are comedies. Last one, practice the art of being diplomatic. I agree. Just because we can't voice our opinion on every little thing doesn't mean we should, or we can voice our opinion. It doesn't mean we should. Sometimes tuning out is just as important as tuning in. This implies to all of us, including me.
Pragmatism, I guess.
I suppose. Don't argue about weird shit.
Like if I was at family dinner or something, and the family that I actually would have dinner with on my mom's side, they're fine. They're not like bad people or anything. A lot of them are really, really excellent people who I actually enjoy spending time with. Sure, actually, all of them to one extent or another. None of them are bad people. But let's say I was to go to let's say there's a hypothetical dinner with my dad's side of the family or something, and they started talking some political shit or something, and even all of them don't agree. But let's say let's say everyone on that side of the family was like my dad and Trump supporters and right-wing pieces of shit who don't like LGBT people and make fun of people who aren't white because they're not white and do bad impressions of their doctor because they're Indian. Like, shit like that.
A little specific.
I'm probably, it's specific because it's based on a true story.
You don't say.
Anyway, my point is, if I was at that table, first of all, I wouldn't go to that table, but let's say I had to be for some reason. I don't know. I'm gonna eat my food and I'm gonna shut the fuck up. I'm not having that argument with 6 idiots,
I will. But not because,
Yeah,
but it's different. But it's different though, right? Because like in that scenario, if I'm sitting with them, it's I care, right? I wouldn't sit them. Sure. You know what I mean? Like in the reality of me sitting at that table, it's because I do give a shit about these people that I'm sitting with, to some extent, enough to be like, I want you to be a better person, like, and here's why that's fucked up, to be racist, like. It wouldn't be just to like debate lord them at the family get together, but like it would bother me if I had racist family members openly, and I would absolutely try to embarrass them in front of anybody else if they were being openly fucking racist or homophobic or anything like that. Because I don't fucking tolerate that, and I don't have to, and I have the privilege of not being in a situation where it's dangerous for me to do so. It might be dangerous for you to do that, like it could be, and so it's not for me in any way that matters. Like they're not going to take it out on me in general because I'm a threat or something like that. I don't know. I'm an equal threat to the other balding fatties eating the Swedish meatballs at the family get together. So I don't know. I've never really come across my experience with racism in my family is actually pretty limited unless it's my dad. He's far more conservative than his siblings. Like he would say the N-word and stuff a lot. Not like as much as like a racist, but like enough. No. No. I mean like someone who's like, I'm a racist. Like I put a Southern flag up. I put that stuff up. He would do it like once a year where it was like sneaky, where it wasn't part of his daily personality, but it was like, holy shit, you're a secret racist, aren't you? Not like those other people that are proud to be racist. Nick Fuentes,
like the guy who lives down the street.
Yeah,
from
that
us, who
fucking
has the
guy.
Confederate flag.
So
hanging
and that was the most, and it's not like a little bit, but the other stuff was always like micro shit. Like I told the story before. You're one of the, your dad's one of the good ones with my my ex who was her dad was Muslim, and like little stuff like that, like the little microaggression shit, and it's like. I'm not gonna probably debate lord that person, right? I'm fine with that, but like to the extent where I'm fine with it, where I'm just gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna fucking move on from that. But like, if I heard someone say the N-word, I'd be like, fuck off.
As much as like, it was little stuff like that, I think too, that made me realize like my dad was like not something that's worth dealing with. Mm-hmm. Like one time we were on vacation in Florida. I think we were in Tampa. I don't remember. But anyway, we got into my dad, he's not a sociable person. He's an alcoholic who spends all his time either drunk or angry that he's not drunk. And, but at the very least, when he's dealing with service people, he's usually respectful as much as you can be. But in fairness, we live around here where most service people are white, at least where he lives, right? I discovered not necessarily the case when that's not the case. We got into a cab at one point during that. This was before Uber was really a thing. So we were in a cab. Not that I don't even know if my dad knows what Uber is, but we got in the cab and the cab driver happened to be someone who wasn't white. I don't know what the guy's nationality was. Doesn't really matter. I don't care.
In Florida, it probably was like, well, I guess in Tampa, it could be anywhere.
Who knows? Who cares? But anyway, yeah. The rudest I've ever heard him speak to anyone in that sort of position was this guy. And he was listening to some music. I don't remember what it was. But my dad was just like, hey, would you turn the music down? Like there was no pretense of like that normal
courtesy.
It turned immediately
That's
into
super weird,
you work for me, fucker. Do what I have to say. Do what I. It was disgusting. It freaked me out.
Shit drives me fucking crazy.
So I don't know. He's he's an insecure person, and I think when he gets the opportunity to lord something over someone that he deems to be lesser than him, in this case because of their race, I think he takes advantage of that.
Oh yeah,
because it makes him feel less small, which is sad, but
well, he's small. Yeah. Well, that's the end of those. The last things that he says is free speech is dying. Yes, free speech is under attack, and people are forgetting what it means to be truly free. But guess what? Again, the fact that he called trans people transform, like, I want to be a transformer someday. Like, like every single time he mentions freedom, it just bothers me. Every time. The only way to combat the crisis is to get on with our lives as if there isn't one, in that there isn't a crisis. Speaking our minds without self-censoring, living our values without apology, and loving who we damn well please.
If he wasn't gay, that wouldn't be in there.
Right. So it's only important if it affects him. Yes, we could speak up in favor of freedom, but our greater obligation is choosing to actually live it every single day. I don't like this living our values without apology. What if your values cause you to need to apologize to people?
Yeah, what if you're a piece of shit?
I don't understand that. I do not understand if you do a bad, it's okay to not do that in the future. And it's even better if you change your behavior and make up for it. That's fine. I have no problem with growth whatsoever. Like, there's a lot of things that obviously the right gets wrong. And I think one of the things that they might get correct is there are some terminally online lefties that just want to cancel people for like stuff that like is kind of benign, right? Especially if they're making corrective behavior and that person is now like not a big problem, right? But if they're doing stuff today, obviously, if someone goes on an N-word tirade in 2021, fucking that's fine. You can cancel them. That makes sense. If I don't know, 20 years ago, they like the. I don't know. It seems a little hypocritical sometimes. Like, it's just like, you're not fucking perfect. And I would rather take someone that's willing to change than someone who thought they were always correct. In my opinion. I think we need to... That's like really the left's biggest problem is purity. And that's not a big problem. As far as like of the problems we could have. Like, just accepting people a little bit more that maybe got it wrong in the past. And we haven't even done anything like terribly egregious. And we don't usually get shit on for the things that we used to say, which is interesting because there's things that you could shit on us for that we said in the past.
When I was like, this is like when we first started, I was an edgelord piece of shit. And I was like one of those people who was like an idiot. And it was like, if I'm talking about the N-word, why can't I say the N-word when I'm talking about the N-word? And I wouldn't do that. It was fucking ridiculous. And I'm glad I learned better and don't do that shit anymore. And I tell people like that too. I've been like, don't make the same mistakes as me. I didn't understand before why that's not okay.
Right, exactly.
Please listen to me.
Yeah, and I think it's important to have those conversations and grow and understand that, like, you were probably wrong before, and it's okay. Like, don't make people uncomfortable for having been wrong. Make them uncomfortable for continuing to be wrong in the face of understanding that they should make a change, right? Like the intentional ignorance is what we should be attacking, not accidental. Like, if someone's accidentally ignorant, who cares? I don't know. Anyway, so I really don't think free speech is under attack. In fact, if it is under attack, it's not the speech aspect, it's the expression aspect, obviously. Whether it's through art or whether it's through how people want to live their life. When it comes to gender, that's the big debates right now. And then I guess sexuality is now coming back up because the right is losing every battle. So they're like, we're going to go back to homophobia now. That's been a real big thing. So yeah, I don't really get it. Like, if you're gonna say you can say whatever you want, well, you can also do whatever you want as long as it doesn't hurt anybody. And I don't see, I don't see the fact that you want bazongas to be a fucking big deal. Like, I don't care. I want you to have whatever you have. And like, if someday I want like dick extensions, I hope you will support me. Like,
sure.
But like separate dicks, like a trident. Yeah.
I feel like that would be difficult.
Just support me.
I feel like that would be difficult for... You know what? Sure. I support your trident dick.
Thank you.
That's great.
That's all I needed. Now you can say whatever you're going to say.
I lost all train of thought because of trident dick.
Yeah. I'll be the king of the seas.
I was going to say, they're going to call you Neptune.
Hey, you know, sometimes you gotta bestow titles on people.
I mean, Sarah's got red hair, which is a little like the Little Mermaid. So
she doesn't have three vaginas, though.
Well, that's the next problem to solve, I guess.
I guess so. Like a bowling ball.
No, we're not.
Anyway, so that's the end of Dave Rubin's book. That is the end of it. There's no more, right? Say there's no more.
That's
the end.
There's
No.
acknowledgments,
Meh.
but it's just literally like
Jordan
thanks
Peterson.
to my husband and thanks all that.
Thank you to
and
Jordan Peterson. Literally it. So, I guess that means this is backwards on my screen, but that's okay. Yours is forwards. Jordan Peterson. Ooh, so crisp. I'm going to get a paper cut. So crisp. Beyond order. To my wife, Tammy, whom I have loved deeply for 50 years, and who is admirable, in my estimation, in all regards, and beyond all reason, which is Jordan Peterson sexting. That's a sext. So, we're going to be doing Jordan Peterson's book, which is going to be rough. How many chapters are there? The index? How many goddamn?
Let me read you.
12?
Can I read you a little snippet just to wet your whistle?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that as a yes. I'm gonna start reading.
It's just 12. It's just 12, of course. It's just the rules.
It's useful to take your place at the bottom of the hierarchy. It can aid in the development of gratitude and humility. Gratitude. There are people whose expertise exceeds your own, and you should be wisely pleased about that. There are many valuable niches to fill, given the many complex and serious problems we must solve. The fact that there are people who fill those niches with trustworthy skill and experiences is something for which to be truly thankful. It's better to presume ignorance and invite learning than to assume sufficient knowledge and risk the consequence of blindness. It must be better to make friends with what you do not know than with you. You get it. The chapter is basically, it's okay that Jeff Bezos makes, billions of dollars and you have to pee in a bottle because he has a skill that you don't have, and that skill is investing in Amazon at the ground floor.
Yeah. So he was behind that Twitter account, Amazon News, that was like, actually the bottles aren't real. And it's like a bunch of workers are like, yeah, I actually pee in bottles. Yeah, that's fucked up.
I'm shocked.
Pour the urine on Jeff Bezos' office door. That's my take. That it is his after all. You did do it on his time, so he deserves it. He needs to get it. So, fuck Jeff Bezos. Fuck you. I'm glad you're leaving, and fuck the next person. CEOs are trash. Why are they so trash? It's so easy not to be trash. You could spend like a small percentage of your vast wealth and take care of all the problems that Amazon workers have, and be lauded as some sort of fucking like benevolent billionaire. Why don't they simply do that? If I was a billionaire, and Jeff Bezos, how much does Jeff Bezos have? 600 billion or something? Jeff Bezos worth. What 180 billion. 180 billion, which isn't nothing. He could do like 1.3 billion and make sure that like every Amazon employee had the best job on the planet. It's nuts. You could take care of everybody all the time. You make $30,000 a second. That's crazy. You are not worth that much. You suck. You suck. So do you, fucking Elon. Trash bag. I fucking hate shit like that. Give me 180 billion. I'll fix like so many things. I can't even fix everything with 180 billion, but I can fix a lot of things. Anyway. What would you do with $1 billion? What's the thing you can fix with $1 billion? Don't say your body. You can't be selfish.
My face.
You can't be selfish. You have $1 billion. You've already done this. You're already, come on.
Okay.
What do you think? On the way to you waited until the $1 billion mark to take care of it? Come on.
Honestly, I'd probably it's sort of selfish in an altruistic way. I'd probably start a fund for trans people, and they could just apply, and basically everyone would get approved, and it would pay for their whatever surgery.
There you go. See, that's not selfish. That's good. It's good stuff.
It's self-serving in the sense that I care about the trans community because I'm in the trans community.
That's not what self-serving means.
Okay, if you say so.
Well, you're also a human person, so helping humans, there's a fucking self-service. See what I mean? Yeah. Anyway. It doesn't have to be, like, purely altruistic just because it affects you, so you understand it.
I also lobby very, very hard for trans protection laws and stuff.
I would lobby to get rid of lobbying, but...
Sure.
If you're Jeff Bezos, you could really pull some switches and fix shit. But instead, he's a fucking loser. Anyway. Okay, enough Jeff Bezos hate. I'll bully him in real life, though. And then he'd pay his security guards to snipe me from 300 yards. That's okay. I would die a hero.
How many people do you think Jeff Bezos has had killed?
More than none.
I'm going to say 3.
3? No, I feel like you get a taste for it. I feel like 1, you're like, oh, no. And you find out you have enough money to protect yourself. Then 2 to, like, cover up the ends. And then the 3rd one's gratuitous. He's got a taste for it now. Like blood in the water. It's probably Amazon employees, too. He's just finding... He, like, Rube Goldberg's their doom. Like, oh, they fell into the trash compactor. Oh, no.
You can just have the robots that work at the places kill them.
All right. This has been a long episode. That's enough. Go to our stuff and do the things. We got Twitches.
Go look at the playlist of our first Jordan Peterson review so you can get ready for the next book, okay?
Jordan B. Movie Peterson.
Ignore how I look and the name I go by.
Oh yeah, that was then. That's weird. Those were the before times.
We don't talk about the before.
Well, that was deep cover. Agent Hannah Purple. Trying to figure out how males act. Humping the air.
Let's not talk about that
story. You fellas?
You fellas?
You fellow fellas?
Did that story get funnier when I came out and explained that?
It did get funnier. Because I like the idea of you just... Like, fucking... Because, like, if the roles were reversed, I very much identify with not understanding, like, some of the conventions of social behavior, unless it's laced in toxicity. So yeah, that makes sense. It's funny. Anyway, you should do it. You can get a tight 35 out of that. I guarantee that. That's 5 extra, too. They don't usually give you 35-minute sets. It's 30 or an hour. You gotta do... Yeah. Anyway, now it's really over. You're never gonna have to see this Dave Rubin structure ever again. You see this stuff around us? Never again. Next one's gonna be JBP, the highest res dumb photo of Jordan Peterson I can find.
There's a lot of them.
Oh yeah. All right. Bye.